The following is a special presentation of Tony Kurre Radio.
Not one, but two shows with Michael Coleman, the Heart of Alabama Food Bank CEO, formerly of the Jimmy Hill Mission. He's been giving his life to Christ, and he'll continue to do that on 101.1 The Truth, along with myself. Looking forward to our brand new endeavor coming up here, partner, in March. It's going to be great. Let's talk about the Mississippi Miracle. What is that, and how does that have to do with Bite by Bite today?
Yeah, so the Mississippi Miracle, I learned this recently. I'd heard some things about it, but just kind of dug into it just a little bit more. When we talk about the solutions to food insecurity, obviously employment is the key. And for many, many years, as far back as I can remember, when you start looking at education scores and all those kind of things, you always see Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Arkansas, always in the bottom five of reading scores, children, infant mortalities, all that kind of stuff. Well, several years ago, Mississippi transitioned and kind of went back. You know, you and I growing up, we remember hooked on phonics.
Yep.
And then they started saying, no, let's learn by whole language. And they got away. And every school system in the nation, I think, got away from phonics. And they're always tweaking, trying to do things better. But when they saw that the scores weren't doing, they just kept trying new things. Well, Mississippi went back to phonics. And I really don't know the year. It's been several years. They moved from 49th, I think, into the top five of the nation in children's reading scores. It's called Mississippi Miracle. You look at Alabama moved from the bottom five. They are now, I think, in the top 20 of children's reading scores. And there's a lot of factors that go into it, but they're going back to phonics because science says that's how children, listen and learn how to read. Mississippi talked about fourth grade scores. Alabama, they passed a law that a few years ago that talked about, and my daughter's a teacher in McKenzie High School, and so I asked her about this. Are they holding people back like they should? Mm-hmm. Because what it was, no more social promotion. If you can't read at a third grade level, you can't move on from third grade.
Yeah.
And then what happens is, so I said, well, tell me what happens if you fail. Well, she said, and I hope I'm saying this back right, as I remember it, she said, so if you fail and they have to hold you back, it's the law now, that they assign you a special person, a special reading plan, to just drill down, because we all know without reading, you're not going to get anything else. Yeah. You can't comprehend science. You can't comprehend all that. So that's what they focused on, along with the phonics aspect, and it's really raised the scores. Now, why is that so significant? Because people, lots of times, who have been passed on, and we've seen this sometimes with athletes. You're an athlete. We're not going. You're going to make your money in pro sports or whatever. We're not going to hold you up at high school. And then you hear people who get into graduate high school and can't read at a third grade level. Yeah. Basically, they're illiterate. And I get that's not the norm, but unfortunately, it's a way higher percentage than we'd like to, because it's just this social passing. You just get them through the system and move them on out. You see it in larger cities more so. But now, if they're disciplining and training children to read, what they're actually doing is empowering those people, even if they get out and they're not interested in higher education, like to go to four-year university, which, by the way, it seems like I'm becoming less and less a fan of, unless it's something like engineering or medical, or I'm real, because AI is going to replace a lot of things. They can't replace somebody installing an air conditioner or repairing your car, that kind of stuff. So, but people who can read and comprehend, they don't have to have formal educations, because there's right now I would take somebody if they say, I don't have any. I'm like, I don't even care if you have a high school diploma. What I want to know is, can you follow these instructions? Can you understand what's being communicated to you? Do you understand how to follow rules? Do you understand how to be at work on time? Do you understand how to have a good work ethic? Those are teachable things. But when you have people, their life is so disjointed when they're out there just surviving in poverty, and they have no means without the literacy ability to overcome that. I'm just so encouraged about so many people, especially young children of color who sometimes just get chewed up and spit out by the public school systems in these states, that now they're empowering them, and you're seeing that it's not intellectual ability. It's been a failure of the school systems, politicalization of the systems, focusing on things that have nothing to do with reading and preparation for life. And I just think as these people get up and more people are able to work, more people are able to provide for themselves and their family, then less people are going to be struggling with poverty and food insecurity. And I think it's a wonderful thing. And so it's not directly related in one way, but it is, because all these people are going to be kept from having to come to a food bank or be off SNAP, or a large percentage of them, because they're being better equipped to read in the school systems, and they're really changing that dynamic. And so to me, it's just an exciting thing. I'm happy for them. I'm happy for future generations who won't have to be trapped in poverty because they can't read a book and be dependent on food banks and SNAP benefits and other type things that may not always be around.
Good stuff. That's Bite by Bite. Have a good weekend, man.
You too.
This has been a special presentation of Tony Curry Radio.